Welcome to the penultimate episode of the season of Red Rising. Today we crawl out of the mud with Darrow and sift through the chaos of chapters 40 to 45 of Golden Sun. We discuss some of Darrow's head-scratching decisions that lead to him finding himself in a surprising sitcom moment where we get a giant Deus Ex Machina reveal. There's more than a few implications with Mustang, and oh look, we get the moody Rogue. Surely everything is fine though, and Darrow has some gifts for the Jackal. Absolutely nothing can go wrong, right? If only Pierce Brown will come onto the show to reassure us that everything is fine. We will keep waiting, Pierce. The following conversation contains major spoilers for Pierce Brown's Red Rising trilogy. The series also includes depictions of graphic violence, torture, slavery, sexual violence, and genocide. Listener discretion is advised.
Who's on the mic for?
I'm on the mic.
Oh, wait.
Thank you, Sam.
Sam went
Appreciate
to
that.
Paris. Sam went to Maine.
Yeah.
I went to Puerto Rico and the Bahamas.
All within 1 week. That's
All within a
incredible.
single week. It's crazy how these things work out.
Nick did some travel too. Nick was in
Yeah.
San Francisco.
San Francisco,
Berkeley?
Monterey, and then we did a Caribbean cruise too. Yeah,
Nice. All right.
great.
Cruising.
Liz?
You don't know the Puerto
Cruising.
Rico song?
Holding down the fort.
No, I don't know the Puerto Rico song.
Well, shall I dive into our summary?
Yeah, it's
For
only
part
been a week.
4?
So what book are we even on?
We are on Golden Sun, top of part 4, which, as we've been doing for all of these episodes, splitting them into 2. So today we're just going to talk about chapters 40 through 45. Is that right? It is right. Okay.
No, through
Just checking.
46?
Shit.
Question mark?
Shit.
Or does 46
I thought it
start
was
part
40
2? Let me check. We're professional podcasters.
I only typed this 100 times. I think the next episode
Oh,
starts
my
with 46.
services.
Okay. You're probably right.
Okay, let's just do it.
Let's
And
do
there's
it.
going to be overlap because that's how it goes. All right, so here's how it starts. This Iron Rain invasion has begun, but it started off really tough because it left off with a lone girl in the mud detonating an EMP and basically just blowing up all of their plans in the process. So Darrow's little high-tech star shell thingy just essentially becomes a coffin as he's like thrown into this like watery mud hellscape scenario. And he has to carve himself out using his razor. And he, taps into those old helldiver instincts, pulls Ragnar free as well. And the two of them crawl out of the mud and it's just a nightmare. Bologna troops are just executing soldiers in the mud. Many howlers are dead, including Weed. Severo's shattered. He can't save him. No time right now. The plan is in ruins. But Darrow forges ahead. He sends Ragnar with a razor, and that's very not okay in Gold Society, to open the city gates. Ragnar succeeds. He kills an Olympic knight. He wounds Cassius, and he's all, "I'm a man." So a very powerful moment. Meanwhile, Mustang takes down the city's shield generators. Darrow's one mission is he just gotta get the Sovereign. So he sees that she's evacuating, throws himself inside. Octavia, Aja, Karnas, Fitchner are all there. He says he has a pulse grenade. That only works for a couple seconds to distract them. And Octavia's like, "Fitchner, you gotta kill Darrow now." And that's when we'll talk about this in depth. But Fitchner's like, "It's me. It's always been
It's
me."
always been me.
So yeah, there's a time when it's like, is he gonna kill him? No, Karnas tries, but then it's like, yeah, he's really got to kill him. So then he's got to make a decision, Fitchner. So he ends up saving him, dives out of the shuttle. Darrow wakes up a week later next to Mustang. Mars won the battle. Bologna's broken, but the Sovereign escaped, and full civil war is now erupting across the society. Roke is now a celebrated fleet commander. He confronts Darrow, saying like he knows Darrow keeps secrets from him, and they have a fractured friendship. But it seems kind of positive because he's like, "Friendships take minutes to make, moments to break, and years to repair." But the episode ends with Darrow running one more operation, a staged assault against the Jackal to rescue Harmony and Mickey the Carver, because he finds out that the Jackal's been I was gonna say double teaming him. That's
Oof.
not what I mean to say. Double crossing him a little bit, right? So he like goes in there to do that. He frames Sunwa as a
Sunwa
traitor.
alert.
Soon watch. And then Darrow walks out with his people free. And the Jackal seemingly trusts him more than ever because he saved him from this traitor. And that's the end of the part we'll cover today.
Oof.
A lot happens.
A lot happens.
Yeah.
Yes.
Was it a quote from this series that if it's presented to you on a silver platter, it's not presented to you on a silver platter or something like that? But
I've never heard
basically,
that quote.
I haven't heard
Really?
that, but I think it tracks.
yeah, like I'm thinking that like we're gonna get into this more later, but that Attica scene, it's like on first read it was like, yeah, great. Looking back, it's like, wow, should have known. That should not have been that easy, given how not easy anything else was up to this point.
That was a double cross, triple cross. Like that was confusing because we're all subterfuging each other for sure.
Yeah.
But to zoom to the very back where we started, I love the description of him underwater in the mud when he's like stuck there and he's got to get out of his little star shell. I just want to throw out some appreciation for that scene. It's claustrophobic. We kind of get to hear his thoughts a little bit. So even though it's a really like, it starts really kinetic and then it's about to go back to kinetic, we get a little like quiet moment with Darrow and his thoughts freaking out. And it's great.
Well, so rise so high, in mud you lie, right? So we get the
That's how it
Karnas
opens.
quote,
I love that.
Yeah.
which is awesome. Love Karnas.
And it's very literally taken in this first part.
Yeah. And I hopefully you're on Narrow watch and Dad watch, but part 4 is full of quotes from Dad and Narrows.
I do have a
good.
narrow watch in this episode. Yeah.
Yeah, but he remembers
we
his
can hit
dad
it
saying,
later.
your sling blade will save your life for the price of a limb. And so he's like, he has to turn
Carefully.
his razor
like,
on and
careful.
off in a millisecond.
Careful, SpongeBob.
Yeah. Anyway, really good. Yeah, very stressful.
I love that you bring that up, Sam, because I know we'll get into this more, I guess, in a couple of weeks when we start on Morningstar. But for a while, the beginning of Morningstar was one of my least favorites. But now that you're mentioning that, it's kind of similar there without getting into too much detail. Dealing with it being in his own thoughts a bit.
Yeah, I'll have to withhold until we get there because it's been a while. But he also is buried in a sense. In the beginning of that. So we also get right off the bat, once he finally does take Ragnar out, gives him the razor. I don't remember that scene at all from my first read when Thistle is like,
highlighted.
Hell no. Yeah, so speak on it.
Yeah. Well, so they climb up out of their star shells. They're in the mud. People are being murdered casually on the beach or like this weird, whatever this is. And he like shoves a razor into Ragnar's hands, and Ragnar's like, no, because he's a gigantic 8.5 foot tall man, afraid of this razor. And then multiple times we have this quote, "They aren't gods," from Darrow. So then we have Ragnar destroying these 2 golds. There's a quote actually. Okay, so there's an older gold, and he's raging against the dying of the light. He's like, I am Gaius Alcarthus of Gens Carthii. We built the columns of Venus. We sealed the gaps between the... Anyway, and we get to the point where Ragnar's like, yield to me or live. Oh, and live. And he says, I can't yield to a dog, right? And then he says, become dirt. So we see Ragnar's incredibly talented all of a sudden with this weapon that he's never used before. And then we get to what you were mentioning, Sam, about him holding it, and Thistle is like, drop that.
Was it Clown?
And so he does drop it.
Is it Clown that's like kind of okay with it? There was someone who was like kind of okay with it. The other one was just like, of course, Severo.
Yeah.
But there was one of the Howlers that was like, okay.
I think it was Clown that was with them. Yeah.
Okay.
Well, he's like,
he doesn't like it.
What is this? You know?
Yeah, like what's going on?
Yeah,
I guess they
like
should have
Clown.
told us how Thistle will end up, but yeah.
Great. Well, spoiler alert, but foreshadowing.
I'm also now realizing now that I have finished the series without getting into any spoilers, how much there is like there are little nuggets of things in the first series that come up again bigger in the second.
Yeah.
I'm not going to say who or what that's
Who
about.
or what?
Yeah. But the one part I didn't remember, like, so you mentioned I love, you mentioned the quote, "They aren't gods." And I love that Darrow's like, they aren't gods, not we aren't gods. Because at this point, one, he's told Ragnar what he is. And two, also, like, I mean, Darrow is basically a god to Ragnar.
Yeah.
Wait, Nick, like, good point in the wordplay. He's definitely like aligning himself with Ragnar as an outsider.
But I don't think it was intentional either, right? I think that's the way Darrow sees it too, because he.
Oh, of course, yeah.
Right?
He's like, he had to find out the same thing, and I think still has to remind himself that. But love Severo being like, "Shut up, Thistle. Like, this is how it's gonna be."
Yeah.
Good stuff. Good stuff. I think that this chapter 41 is really like peak Severo and Darrow as a team. There's just great moments with them, and there's a lot of like talk throughout the series of how like Severo's just loyal to Darrow. Why? Because he's just blindly loyal. But I really am pro like Severo is an autonomous human making autonomous choices throughout this whole thing, and he's just a really good friend.
Yeah.
And some people are just really good friends.
Yeah. And I think that again, now it's like, don't talk about sheep. I think that, again, that's something that comes up more later in the series, right? And we see that play out. But yeah, Severo's his own person. And I think here is where we actually, in this book, more so in the next book, we start to see that developing Severo independent of Darrow, right?
One point, Darrow says, like, maybe Severo's even more important than me. Like, that's almost a direct quote. And I'm like, fuck you, bro. Like, come on, man. Talk about buying your own hype. Jeez Louise.
Which is another theme that comes up repeatedly, is Darrow buying into himself too much.
But it's kind of reminiscent of a Harry Potter
Neville
Longbottom
yes.
dynamic, where, like, it turns out Neville's kind of the hero because the prophecy was just about him, or both of them, the whole time.
And everyone kind of just overlooks Neville and makes fun of Neville, but it's like, hey, I mean, he's basically the same.
Yeah. I don't know, awfully quiet on the other side of the room. How are we feeling about this?
I think Darrow has had so many examples now of himself being successful in spite of all odds that of course he's going to bet on himself to win. You know? So it is. I mean, I think it's easy for us to look at him and be critical of how he does come off as pretty full of himself, but also like he has quotes too about this where, you know, no one has successfully killed him. So I think, especially in the scene later on when he sees his mom, is that a spoiler?
No, we're talking about this part.
Is that in this part though? I think it's next part.
No, you're right. Next part.
It is this part of the book, next episode for us. Yeah. But it is this part of the book.
Yeah, where she's like, and who's going to do all this? And he's like, I am, you know? So yeah, I think it's well deserved. We know he can do it. He's the guy. So
with the help of his friends, but
bingo.
Wait, I want to go back to. Sorry, go ahead, Liz.
No. What?
I wanted to go back to Ragnar. So Darrow says, "I give you no golds," and do you know what that means? Effectively inviting Ragnar to be a leader of others without what would traditionally happen in any scenario is you have a gold who leads and then everybody else's support.
Did he say golds or goals? For some reason, I thought
I give you no golds.
I think I was listening in that part. Okay.
Yeah, chapter 41.
Okay.
And then we get into like this foot race of the six of them minus Ragnar running full speed through the city. And then Severo's flying around on his little hover boots and he's like, go left, go right, you know. I don't know. Any comments on that? I think it's beautiful. Like the pace is great, but there's not a lot of like stuff that happens while he's sprinting.
Liz, your Wi-Fi's been blinking, and so we haven't heard much from you. Do you want to?
Yeah. So I thought this was really cool to see Ragnar just, you know, take down a knight and also injure Cassius. And I think it just, adds to the argument that golds should not be the one determining what each color does. Because if he was able to pick up the razor and adapt so quickly to it, what makes him not be able to be like a gold knight or something like that, right? Like they can't just, I think it adds to that argument. And I thought it was beautiful to like read.
This might be a smaller point than I'm making it out to be, but thus far we have only seen one person injure Cassius. And I think it's fantastic that the second person we see do it is Ragnar.
Is Ragnar. That's true. That's very true. But
there's a quote.
Yeah.
There's a quote. Bro, some men have threads of life so strong that they fray and snap those around them. Enough friends have paid for my war, this one's on me. And so Severo is desperately trying to stop Darrow from going off by himself, running through behind enemy lines to get Octavia. Like, the plan is falling apart. He's supposed to have, and he says this, he's supposed to have 100 obsidians at his back and 12 gold knights. And it's just him, no armor, sprinting. And he has been sprinting for, I don't know, an hour and a half through enemy lines to like jump on, find Octavia before she escapes. And so then finally we get to the point where the shuttle, this is very Star Wars cinematic. He like jumps and he's holding onto the edge of the ship, you know, and he pulls himself on and then the chapter ends. And so, and so the next chapter begins with Darrow or Fitchner saying, Darrow? Like, he's so disappointed to see him. And then Karnas, shout out Tim, Gerard Reynolds. Karnas looks around in this very comical sitcom-y way. And he's like, what? Andromedas? Where did you come from?
And it's very much like looking around from Darrow's perspective, like, don't you just hate it when you jump onto a shuttle and all your worst enemies are there?
Yeah.
No friends in sight.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Before we move on to that, I wanted to really quickly shout out that quietly in the background, Mustang gets things done.
Yes.
Does
yes,
she?
She does.
Yeah, why the whole, shield going down was all her.
Good
and
point.
Just because we don't see it.
Credit to Mustang.
There's going to be plenty of Mustang talk coming
A
up.
lot of Mustang talk, yeah.
But I do want to say, even before we get into it, that I've gotten feedback from listeners that there's some support for Craig's point of view on Mustang.
Well, they're wrong.
Oh, yeah. Should I read
wrong.
the comment from one of our listeners?
Sure.
You already did. I feel like you already read that.
I didn't read it on air, though.
Craig is like subsisting
He's
off
just
of
so
this one
excited.
comment.
Yeah.
I think that you should read it when we talk about Mustang in more in depth.
That's
She
fair.
hasn't even come up yet. But I got this feedback in person, and so this is not just one isolated comment on the internet. This is other people saying, yeah, she's not a fully developed character. I'm not into her.
That's great. Thank you for saying that.
Whatever. We'll get to it. So he's on a shuttle.
He's on a shuttle, and Octavia says, eventually we get to Fitchner, you need to kill him.
Yep.
And
Yes.
Fitchner is like
Tough.
very sad.
Thinking
And
really
he's-
hard.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And he's recording this. And then almost comically, Karnas rushes Darrow, and in one single paragraph, Darrow stabs him. And this is so cool. Darrow stabs him, flips to the side, pulls the razor out of the back of his chest, and then cuts off his head. And
Yeah.
Fitchner says, should I keep recording this?
Yeah.
Which is so funny.
Also a bummer for Fitchner, because you think it's a little, Deus Ex Machina that's saving him from having to kill his guy, and then it's just like, nope.
Yeah.
Still got to
Yeah.
do it. So it's a
He
fresh
tried, though.
order.
Yeah.
He tried.
Yeah, he tried. He was like, let's hold him as hostage. Let's,
Mhm.
He did.
do all these different things. And they're like, no.
Yeah.
We can keep his head and use
Yeah.
that, but we will be killing him. I did think it was, he gave Karnas back his quote, right? In Mud You Lie, or what is the quote?
Rise
Yeah.
so
What is
high.
Rise so high, Mud You Lie. And that
He
was like
does
what he
whisper
said
it back
back to
to
him. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's like,
It's
all
pretty
right,
good.
let's close the chapter on that.
It's a little anticlimactic.
For
But at the same
Karnas'
time, I
death.
think it's kind of perfect
Yeah.
for Karnas. I think it
Yeah.
shows what his place truly was. He was
It's
just
yeah.
a thug in a war.
Enforcer, yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's kind of a common, complaint's probably too strong a word, but of Pierce, he's just like, it's your complaint. He laced his
Throwaway
characters.
characters.
It's just like wham. Like, you thought that this was a big deal? It's not. He dies like everybody else really fast.
Yeah.
I don't
But
think
that
we've.
makes sense for Yeah.
No, go ahead. Yours
I was
is
gonna
more
say,
relevant.
I feel like that makes sense for Karnas though, because like Karnas is, what's his name's brother? Oh my god,
Cassius?
Cassius's brother. So like, it's not really about Karnas and Darrow, it's Cassius and Darrow. So Karnas was just gonna be a side anyways. He's like, okay, this is your brother that's older, tougher, but like he's not the main character.
Well, as I'm about to argue, this is the climax of the book. So he does get a death at the climax of the book. So
also, I just wanted to point out a little bit of a juxtaposition here. The whole thing with Cassius and Darrow starts with Darrow, or like it goes awry because Darrow has to kill Julian. And one of the things Cassius says is, it's not that you killed him, it's the way you killed him. And in this scene, we basically get Karnas trying to kill Darrow without any honor, and Darrow just defends himself and kills him. So it's kind of like the complete opposite. And also at the same time, Darrow has now killed 2 of Cassius's brothers.
Yeah,
good point. And shout out to if we have tiers of bosses, like Karnas being what he is, Aja then rushes Darrow and then punches him so hard in the chest, not with his, I don't think she uses her razor. Yeah. And he like collapses against the wall, So like peak gold. So shout out to Aja. She's so cool.
Yeah. So then the biggest thing ever happens.
Yeah.
Anyone? Who wants to take this?
Yes.
I would think you should take it, Sam.
Well, you know the reason I want to take it. I'm going to glean over the I am your father moment, because after he's told, I'm Ares, I always was Boyo, whatever he says, who cares?
What?
Darrow kind of passes out, and he thinks, as they're fleeing, that his uncle Nerol, Nerol Watch, is the one hanging out with him. He thinks that he sees Nerol, not Fitchner. He's kind of coming in and out of consciousness. And it's the moment you find out Fitchner is Ares, the most important part of the entire book, maybe the entire trilogy. And Uncle Nerol is front and center, everyone.
Oof.
Well, also, I think this now brings more context into Narrow Watch entirely, and this whole dichotomy. Well, if we think about it, throughout this book, Darrow is Severo's not just a friend; it's his brother. What does that make Fitchner? That would make Fitchner his uncle. So yeah, of course he's making parallels with Uncle Narrow.
Mm-hmm. Oh, uncle and uncle. That's cute. But Darrow thinks he's dead, and he thinks that he's seeing Uncle Narrow in that moment.
Yeah.
So yeah,
I just can't.
Anyway,
even
if anybody wants to
imagine
describe it in a different way, they're welcome to. But that's what I got from this.
No,
story.
I think that's perfect.
What?
We don't need to expand on it anymore. That was
so
all we needed.
The most famous quote. You don't even have to read the books to know this quote is Fitchner whispering, "It's me, Boyo. It's always been me."
I said it in the summary.
I know, but it's no. What he says is, "You bloody damn fool! I had it under control."
Mm-hmm.
Which is...
But how would he have known that? The whole thing just annoys me, because I'm like, okay, it annoys me because I was annoyed with Darrow for messing up the plan. But then I'm like, but he didn't know any different. Nobody told him anything. There was no communication that don't do this because we have somebody in place that will you should have just told him we have somebody super close to the arch governor and we're using that person like that. I don't know.
Well, yes, and
I just was very frustrated.
Yes, and one,
and
never tie 2 ships together in a storm.
Right.
That whole thing, and 2, this is in its way a Deus Ex Machina, right? What was Darrow gonna do if Fitchner wasn't Ares? What a stupid move to just jump onto the shuttle by himself. It was really stupid. Yeah. And I think we
he would have just died for nothing.
Exactly.
He had the pulse grenade.
Oh yeah, sure.
Which was a great idea while it lasted.
Yeah.
But the way that they ditched it, that I do love a book, a series, anything where it really doesn't the thing goes immediately wrong. That's what makes things exciting. And I think a lot of times it's hard to write that. And he has got the pulse grenade, and then they just shift the shuttle a little bit, and it just pops out of his hand and flies out of the shuttle.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Yeah, really
so much
good.
for that Helldiver grip.
So good.
Oh, good point.
Right.
What?
Well, maybe not quite in space.
Yeah. And then we have the final line of that chapter, which is Fitchner, Ares, terrorist lord of the underworld, howls like a wolf as he carries me to safe harbor.
So good.
Which is so good. And a compliment from Ares that he would howl, because that's Darrow's thing.
Totally.
So it's very, very cute.
Well,
it's a Darrow Severus thing.
It's a Severus
thing.
Oh, I guess it's a Sever thing, but still
a compliment.
But that's true.
Yep.
I just would love to see Aja and Arch Governor's face when when all of this like happens? Because, he passed all of their tests for what is it called? Just like
The Institute.
yes. Like
The
he passed
snake-
like
the
the
snake.
Oh yeah, the
Archsugner's, like,
oracles.
yeah, the oracle test. Like he's been by her side all these times while being Aries. It's just how does she reconcile like that he just did all of this under her nose?
That's a great point.
But at the
Go
same
ahead,
time,
Nick.
I think she definitely suspected something, or she wouldn't have been so adamant that he killed Darrow, and they would have just killed her. Like, if that's another thing here, if she hadn't been adamant that Fitchner killed Darrow, they could have just killed Darrow right away.
Yeah.
So
I think she
I thought
suspected
she
something
was-
in that moment, like when
Yeah,
he
when
hesitated
he-
to kill Darrow,
mhm.
and then
And
he was like,
"That's my
"Well,
student."
my cover's blown. She's a smart lady."
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think in
Yeah.
that moment, she underestimates both Fitchner and Darrow. Because if she properly knew who Darrow was, she would have sent everyone just like Karnas did and killed him as like quickly as
Just
she
like
could have.
rush him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then, as you're mentioning, she clearly didn't know everything going on with Fitchner, or he wouldn't have been in that spot.
Well, on the topic of Fitchner, right? Shout out back to book 1 when Darrow's interviewing him in the woods at the Institute, and he's asking Fitchner, how many men can do what you say you can do? And Fitchner's like, very few. So I think it's hard to believe, and we see it from Darrow's perspective and Sever's perspective. Like, they kind of look down at Fitchner because he's gained a bunch of weight and he's kind of foolish. In order to be the Rage Knight, he has to be a baller. And I think why does Octavia have him close? Because he's probably low-key incredible.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't think
And I mean,
give Fitchner.
if you think of he had to go through duels to get to be the Rage Knight,
Right.
and if you
beat Jupiter.
And there's some other names in there that he beat that were pretty big names too.
And to be a low gold and to
Mhm.
also meet those
Right.
standards means he had to work
Yeah.
double hard to do
Mhm.
it
Yeah.
because he's already looked down upon.
Yeah, so shout out
Yeah.
to Fitchner. And then we get to these boring parts. The C chapter, 43.
43 is a little slow. I have a direct quote from 43 that
Let's
I thought
hear
we'd
it.
want to discuss, but I use voice to text while I'm doing other things.
Uh-oh.
And so the quote is, Roke is our ally, he allay will be.
What a great quote.
Thank you. Roke is our ally, he always will be. That's Darrow.
Yes.
Yeah,
I have that
talking
highlighted
to
too.
Mustang? Is that
Yeah.
correct then? Mustang?
Probably because he talks to her a lot. I think most of this chapter.
Mostly. They do some mending here. Is that correct? Wait, no, they're already buddies. They've already made
Yeah,
up.
there
That
was a
before
sex scene
the
at
Iron
the
Rain.
end. Sorry.
Well, yeah, very important sex scene.
It was very
Right?
confused. I did not remember that happening.
I'm looking at this sex scene timeline so closely, you guys, because I have so many questions about, and this is a spoiler for the book 3, which we're clearly spoiling. I have so many questions about how long Mustang knew that she was pregnant. And like at what
The
point
timeline
she had
is
that
odd.
knowledge.
Yeah.
I don't know that it's even odd. I'm just like, it would give me more
Well, I think
context
you find
to
out later.
understand.
You do find out
We do.
explicitly when later.
I don't think you
Alright.
do. I looked it up on internet, and internet
It's-
people didn't know. I don't think it's
I
Do we
read it.
know
I read
when?
it like a month ago.
When is it? Because she talks about
it's here.
seeing him
She knows.
It's
the
At
day
this
it
time?
happened?
No, she knows down in the
Yes.
mines.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, no, she
Yeah,
doesn't
like
know. She finds out soon after, but she knows like it happens here.
See,
and
there's people
spoiler,
on the internet that say, well, no. We know she knows when they conceived because as far as we know, they only had sex this one time. That's not my
Right.
question.
Then
My
what's it?
question is, when did she know that she was
She was
pregnant?
pregnant.
And some people say they think it was down in the mines. Now, that sounds like it was only a week or so
Yeah.
after the sex part. But it would be cool if she did. Like, that would be interesting, an interesting layer. So, anyway, I've been doing a lot
I
of deep
thought
research
she-
on this.
I have a high degree of confidence that she didn't know going down into the mines.
Oh, I thought she did know. That's
It
why
was-
she's so torn down there. Because she's like, oh, man. This
That's what
bread
people are
knocked me
saying.
up. Yeah.
I think that makes it so fascinating
Yeah.
to talk about. However, I guess it's future tech or Pierce doesn't
Right,
know how
right.
babies are
yeah,
made because that's way too soon to know if you're.
and I feel like that would be such a critical detail to overlook without explaining, quite honestly, because it is explicitly like a week or two later.
Yeah. So anyway, that was
Anyway.
sorry. That was just a wormhole that I went down yesterday, trying to prepare for this podcast, and then clearly was not prepared enough because it wormholed.
Well, back to your initial point about Roke.
Yeah.
Mustang says power creates opportunities. And they're discussing how because Roke in space, in the space battle, did so well, he now has more ships than Darrow. And Darrow's like, I'm not worried about it. And Mustang, who is a genius, credit where credit is due, is like,
maybe you should worry about it.
You should probably worry about it.
And she's also like, drop my brother now. She's like, all right, you're done with him. Let's be done with it.
You have me now.
Yeah.
I'll be your chief politico. You're incompetent when it comes to politics.
This is a big I'm about to have told you so moment. She drops a lot of those that are about to come to fruition.
Yeah. And then I also want to shout out, because this comes up in the next chapter or two, Mustang's so excited because her dad has promised her that the reformers will have a place at the table when Darrow, her dad, comes into power. And Darrow's like, I don't know. So we have Mustang being like, I don't know about that, to Darrow about Roke. And then Darrow is also feels the same way about her dad, like these are promises that are probably not going to be kept.
Yeah, for sure. Roke. I did have a note in chapter 44. Do see from Roke's point of view, but I don't really remember why.
Okay.
I think it was during the conversation between Darrow and Roke. I think I was feeling like, I kind of get why Roke is sort of upset with Darrow here. Do you have any notes there, Craig? Because you're such a Roke stan. I kind of thought you'd bring it up. And it would remind me.
I think Darrow's chapter 44 is all about Roke. And it's huge. So, okay. So they have the sex scene. Whatever. And then we move on to, he's still recuperating. He's at Mustang's vacation home when she was a kid. Roke is sitting outside. Mustang, again, credit to Mustang, is like, you should probably go outside and talk to Roke. So he goes outside. Roke is like feeding deer or something like that. And they have this, I don't know, it's probably like 6 pages of discussion about how Darrow is apologizing. And he's been saying the things that we've been saying this whole time. I've kept you at arm's length. I've taken you for granted. And you've been really kind to me. And then Roke responds with, you used me like a man uses a horse. I'm better than that. Quinn was better than that. Darrow says, are you better than this friendship? And then, shout out to all of you who kept saying this, Roke says, I think I'm better than you. And I think these are, if we've been having like acorns along the way of seeing Roke, this is the sort of final straw for Roke, is like, after all this time, he's had enough.
Which is also interesting because my understanding is at this point, he still clearly does not know what Darrow is. But at the same time, one of his biggest complaints is that in his mind, Darrow treats him the way they all treat other colors. So, taste of your own medicine, you're mad about it? Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I wouldn't like being treated that way as a friend. Like, on first read and second,
that's fair.
Until I had, Craig read it back to me on third read, I kind of felt like he was talking about, like, I'm better than you as a friend. I'm bringing more to this. But now that Craig has read it back, I'm hearing more, why do you have all of this power and influence?
Yeah.
When all you're doing is, like, fucking up the society. Like, it doesn't make any sense. I would be a better leader than you. I would be like, you don't deserve your station here.
It's very Aaron Burr.
It is. It is very Aaron Burr.
I think,
sir.
and I'm just now picking up on this because we're talking about it out loud, there is something about Roke winning in space that also probably is a flip the switch moment for Roke, who has been a quiet poet up until that moment. And now he's like, I can do hard things. Like, I just won the biggest space battle in 400 years. And so that could be, there's some of that in the I think I'm better than you, too, right? Like, Darrow's kinetic force on the ground with a razor. Arguably, what's more important is Roke just won a space battle. So there could be some of that in there as well.
And the fact that it coincided. Sorry, please.
Oh,
please,
no, you're good. No. I wanted to really hear about, like, his reasoning for, when he started that conversation of, why do you think I got into Mars? Like, you would think I would be in, like, Jupiter or something else, but then we don't hear it because Severo comes to get
interrupts.
Darrow. I know, and I'm like, damn it, I just really wanted to hear it. Roke is very interesting, right? Like, we've talked about him, and we can talk about him ad nauseum, and have, like, the reason for, like, why he, like, turns on Darrow the way he turns. I was reading a bit about this too, and I think it's interesting because he doesn't mention Leah. So it's almost like he no longer blames Darrow for Leah's death, right? Like, but he seems to for Quinn, because he mentions Quinn as he's mentioning like the list of people. It could just be that, that's the most recent memory. But I took it as like, I feel like maybe he's no longer putting Leah on Darrow's shoulder, but is putting Quinn. Because from Roke's perspective, Darrow came into their world, has kind of like demolished everything about the society as he knows it. He's not intentionally caused, like, not like killed all their friends like Tactus and Quen, but he has been involved in it, and it seems to be the cause of it. So I can see where like he has resentment of Darrow because of these situations. I still think he's a bitch ass for like going against them, but
wait,
in summary, I find him to be a bitch ass.
I think I don't know if he's let go of Leah. He's like Quinn, Tactus, and you this year.
Oh, this year.
So
okay.
I think he's keeping a tally, and
yeah,
because Leah's on like 2 years ago,
right?
Just And then again to Darrow making mistakes, and like he had the opportunity to pull somebody close, and he misses it. Broke asks, "Would you trade places with these folks? Because I would." And Darrow says, "I'd give my life to bring them back, knowing it's a lie."
It's a lie. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, like,
and if we take it from Roke or anybody who's not in Darrow's head or his direct inner circle, from their perspective, this is still a vie for power. So even if Roke didn't agree with like an uprising and it happening, at least that would be a moral reason to have this war. But as far as Roke knows, Darrow's just helping Nero get more power in order to improve his own lot in life. And it's not, it seems meaningless to him that all of his friends are dying and that the peace within the society is being disrupted just so that Darrow can elevate himself. I would be pissed off about that too.
That's very true. Yeah.
And then we have the final quote from Roke. "Friendship takes minutes to make, moments to break, years to repair. We'll talk again soon."
I actually do love this quote, though.
It's an incredible quote.
Yeah.
It's real.
So why do we think Roke got into Mars?
Ooh.
It's a question that's left unanswered, and I think it's a great question to come up right now in the story.
Maybe he's got some quiet rage things going on, needs therapy.
They all need therapy.
They all do, all the golds.
But
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
I think
comment in the comments.
I think Roke is full of himself in a very different way than Darrow is, and I think he believes everything he says to Darrow in this scene, but I don't think it's actually true. I don't think Roke would have traded places with any of them, even though he says he would have.
And
that's one of the cruxes. Like that's the big part of his argument is, I'm this self-righteous person and you're not. And it's like, well, I don't think you actually would have.
I don't know why he had initial signal to enter House Mars, but when you look at like the next book and his actions and his demise, he really becomes like a maniacal villain. Like he gets extremely self-righteous.
I don't know.
He is very self-righteous.
He is self-righteous for sure.
I just feel like it drives it. Like to me, it's like it's a little cartoony to be like he's a mustache twirly kind of villain, but like he just is relentless. Like he gets very tunnel vision, single-minded in his like desire to defeat Darrow.
It is insane because like at least Cassius, like we know that he had a good reason, right, for why he like truly hated Darrow, because right, like, and we'll talk about it in the next episode, right, like there's a reason why Cassius is like, how dare you. But like Roke doesn't really have, I mean, outside of, yes, like your friends died, but all of them were friends. All their friends died. So it's like outside of that, it's really just like you really do like the society as is because you love your life as comfortable as is. Like
yeah.
And that's rage for you right there.
It is. And also like if you're such a good friend and you're on this high horse about how good of a friend you are, you'd realize that this person lost their friends too. Tactus was Darrow's friend. Quinn was Darrow's friend. Leo was Darrow's friend. And they're not just your friends. So get over yourself. Like really, they're not just your friends. And to look at Darrow and think that he's not also torn up about that, I mean, I think that's not being a good friend.
But he's still the one. He's the one doing it. He's
Yeah.
essentially
But
the
is he?
antagonist.
Is he?
think so.
You're
Kind of.
displacing.
It starts
He
from
is.
Darrow.
But this is the thing. The reason all of this happens is society. And instead of being mad at society, instead of being mad at Octavia, instead of being mad at Aja, who actually killed Quinn, you're mad at Darrow. And it's like, maybe take a deeper look. Maybe look at what you're defending here, because you're misplacing your anger, and you got a lot of it.
It is insane that he's just very like okay with all that the society, how the society is. Yeah, it's just like, all right, it's just complacency. I feel like he's like, well, my life is good.
Yeah, exactly. It's that true moderate approach of, yeah, I'm fine, so everything must be fine.
Yeah.
And I think it's so funny that like Severo is the person to interrupt this conversation with Rogue, right? Because like those are the two options, like who we're gonna have as a friend, and like we're leaning heavily towards Severo. Darrow claps him on the back and is like, "Good to see you. I'm so sorry." And Severo interrupts and is like, "Piss off. I'm not a whiny little bitch like the poet."
We haven't even covered Attica, and we are almost out of time.
We need to.
We need to
and
go.
so we learn that the Ares has been kidnapped, and Mustang and Mickey. And so we need to go to Attica where the Jackal lives and rescue them. So that's the last chapter in this part, chapter 45, Gifts. So
and Harmony. Sorry, you said
Harmony.
Mustang, and my brain was like, wait,
I'm sorry,
Mustang?
Harmony. And so they land in Attica. Darrow has a gift for both, and what's really interesting, he has a gift for both Victra and Julius. Julius?
Adrius.
Julian, not Julian.
You do that a lot.
Adrius.
Adrius.
That's a combination.
Just like rubbing
No.
the salt in the wound
Interesting.
every time.
And so, call back to when Victra mentioned that she loves the smell of rock before it rains.
The rain. Yeah.
Yeah. Petrichor. And so he gets that for Victra. Then he gets a gift for Adrius. Adrius opens it. We don't ever see what the gift is to Adrius, because at that exact moment, the sons of Ares arrive, quote unquote. And I'm so curious about what he got for Adrius.
What do you get the man who has everything?
Yeah.
You know?
We do find out
exactly.
later. We do find out later, right?
Do we
What
find
is
out later?
I
Do we
think so,
find
yeah.
out?
I
Refresh
don't
us.
remember.
I'm almost positive we find out in Morningstar. I'm sorry if I'm wrong. I've been very wrong before. But yeah, I think we find out. Also, shout out to Darrow being a good friend again.
Yeah.
With knowing what to get Victra and remembering
what to
and
get
it's
Victra.
like,
And he
hey,
made it a long time ago.
Yeah, look at
Yeah,
that.
that
He's
is-
a good friend.
Good friend behavior.
Yeah. And then
you are right. I just looked it up. They do tell us what the gift is in Morningstar. It is a.
What is it?
Do you want me to say? It's a
Yeah, it's good.
scepter with the head of a jackal.
Oof, that is the gift you get the man who has everything.
And
Well,
like,
also,
if they
it's-
weren't feuding, he would love, wouldn't he? Can't you
Yeah.
just see him with that like?
Mm-hmm.
And it's also perfect callback to
Yeah.
Scepter and Sword.
Yeah.
The early on in the book, it's
Mhm.
a full circle moment there, and it's Darrow showing his commitment
Yeah.
in his mind. Silver platter and all.
Yeah, quote from the Jackal.
Yeah.
Speaking about why he took this house on the mountainside, which is gorgeous. Father said, this is Adrius talking. Father said you can't have everything you want. And then Victor interrupts and said, and you asked why not? And why not? The Jackal repeats the words fondly. So anyway, just I think we're getting like
Yeah.
little
Little snippets.
sprinkles
Crumbs.
of why the Jackal is like he is. Yeah, crumbs.
At this point, we're led to believe Adrius knows about Darrow, right?
We're not
Yes.
led to
We
believe
don't-
that
we-
yet.
No. But like,
But
if
we
Oh,
we,
we're
later
not led to
find
believe,
out that
but-
yes.
yeah, not led to
No.
believe it, but I
That's
think
true,
at this
'cause
point,
No, he
the-
doesn't. It's
Uh,
after he
The first.
leaves Attica that the Jackal puts it all together.
It confirms
Did they
his
not say
suspension.
Harmony?
Yeah.
Harmony's the one who
yeah. I
spilled-
thought Harmony is the.
They did.
I thought Harmony was the reason why
But they went
know.
into yes. So I if
Right?
I remember this correctly, I believe it was that like they were suspicious. And so that's why he let this leak. And so he wanted to see what Darrow would do. And then when Darrow went to his place and then the Ares were there, I think that confirmed his suspicion. And then he went and watched because he had already gotten the information from Harmony's. Did he get it from her brain? Like
yeah,
the whole procedure? Yeah. So I think
I
he
thought
already
she just
had
told.
it. And then
I
this
thought
Yeah,
she
she
confirmed
tortured.
it.
She was tortured.
She was
yeah, and I
tortured, and
guess it was more
yeah.
of let's. I guess it was more of a let's verify this information in a way.
I didn't pick up on that.
They don't tell you till
Okay.
Morningstar.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Yeah.
Good
Yeah.
memory, everybody. And then soon Wall watched.
She did. That's my notes.
She's dead. Yeah, so Soonwa, remember everybody, is the gray that accompanied Darrow down initially to meet the Jackal in the underworld. And so she is now the head of security for the Jackal, and they blame her for this, Sons of Ares moment, and she's killed and put in the cargo ship. So anyway, that's it for Soonwa.
Honestly,
I don't think she's mentioned again.
And that's it for the chapter.
And that's it.
Yeah.
How do we feel about this chapter or this section?
I thought it was good.
Liz?
Yeah. I thought it was good.
What would you rate it out of 5?
I'd rate it a 3.5. I thought it was good. It's a lot of building. I really liked it, but then when I read the other half, I was like, oh my God, yeah, love. So I'd give this a 3.5.
I agree with that.
Ooh, Sam.
I just want to piggyback because I thought that was great. That's exactly how I felt. It is the Fitchner part though, which means maybe bump it to a 4, but everything else around it's a little boring.
Oh yeah, that's true.
Yeah, completely agreed. In the 3.5 to 4 range, there's a lot of tension here too, and it's like, hang on, some good stuff's happening and I don't believe it. And of course we shouldn't believe it, but I don't know if we knew to not believe it yet until what happens next. But either way, right in that range, I'd agree.
I think the chapter, if we could subdivide the chapter with Fitchner saving Darrow, that's a 5. And then overall, though, we've got a lot of build-up and quieter moments and reflection, conversations with Rogue. I agree with Liz's 3.5 overall. So.
Great. Fabulous, y'all. Well,
good job, everybody.
We'll be back for the end of this book, the next episode. End of this book.
End of the book.
Yay.
All right. See you next week.
See you later.
Bye.
There's definitely some tension building, and next week we get some more big payoff. While Darrow might be thinking the worst is behind him in this war, and with his friends, we'll see what surprises the final chapters of Golden Sun have in store for our slightly naive hero. We'll try to end the season on a high note, but we learn how dangerous trust can be as Pierce guts us all, like Cassius, after leading Darrow to a riverbed in the middle of the night. Pierce, come onto the podcast and tell us why you hate us all. If you, or anyone else, have thoughts, opinions, or complaints about our takes, you can email us at thehowlerbookclub@gmail.com or find us on Instagram at Red Rising Book Club. Thanks and see you next week.